On to this now. Gauteng police have announced the launch of 2 new specialized crime units for Gauteng to tackle specific high-priority threats. The first unit, focused on political killings, will mimic the KZN police killings task team and will investigate politically motivated assassinations of government officials and related persons. The second unit will zone in on organized crime related to kidnapping, extortion and offences targeting infrastructure projects linked to criminal syndicates. Police Minister Firoz Kachalia says the formation of the units forms part of the SAPS's broader organized crime strategy and will guide the policing response to increasingly coordinated illegality. Now, let's get reaction to this development now with CPF National Spokesperson Siyanda Biyela. Good morning and thank you so much for your time. The SAPS has now established 2 specialized units to deal with political killings and organized crime in Gauteng. From a community policing perspective, how significant is this move?
Well, good morning, Mr. Chab and the viewers at home. Thank you for having us today. It's part of the view that every time there are these units that are made by the SAPS to focus and give a special focus into some issues and areas, they yield good results. For instance, we have Operation Chanela, which has been running for almost 2 financial years, if not 3, if I'm correct. It's been yielding good results and it's been really assisting us a lot. You have the issue of the anti-gang unit, which has yielded good results. We've seen in Germiston days ago, they've recovered guns on the streets of Germiston, which are illegal, and guns which are possessed by people who should not be having those guns. For instance, what happened in the area of Westbury is still shocking that the person can just commit a mass shooting like what happened in Westbury 2 days ago. So we need to really get a team that will deal focused about taking guns away from the community. But still, a special focus of these teams will avoid the issue of hindering of service delivery, where you take people from the station to attend to specialized issues. But we must congratulate the Provincial Commissioner of Gauteng in mimicking what has happened in the KwaZulu-Natal. And let's also wish safety for the members who will be working. But tirelessly, we want to say the community will be part of an integral part of how we move forward, because information must flow from the community to these members so that they're able to effect arrests and also service them correctly.
Sure. Have CPFs in Gauteng been briefed on how these units will interface with community structures, or is this entirely a top-down SAPS initiative?
The relationship between the South African Police Services and the community police boards across the country has always been strengthened by communication. And I am sure that in the province of Gauteng, the provincial chairperson, Mr. Thokozani Masilela, and the provincial commissioner, Lieutenant General, the provincial commissioner of Gauteng, are able to speak now and again on these issues. The CPF in Gauteng, we've seen them playing a good role in assisting and also pulling in private sponsors to assist the South African Police Service in doing their work and ensuring that they enhance wherever they have gaps.
Now, infrastructure crimes directly cost communities and schools, clinics, roads. From your board's engagement with communities, how deeply has this criminal disruption been felt on the ground in Gauteng?
This is part of the work that must be, one of the things that we raised in the community policing UNDAB that was held by the South African Police Services about a financial year ago, is that part of the challenge is that we see local government and provincial government not really playing their part in assisting in terms of community policing and policing at large, because some of these issues, some of these buildings, abandoned buildings, belong to the government. Some of these abandoned buildings belong to municipalities. Now, it hinders the work of the South African Police Services when these buildings are hijacked and no one is monitoring them in terms of how it works, who occupies, and which must be done by the municipality. How does the government public works assist us in ensuring that the buildings of government are kept and monitored in a manner that no one is able to hijack them? The issue of infrastructure disruption, which is deliberate by people who are mafias in our communities, has also been a challenge. So this team must also focus in gathering this information and really tackling these crimes so that service delivery can be achieved.
Now, Siyanda, do you believe the creation of these units represents a turning point in the fight against organized crime in Gauteng, or is it still too early to tell?
Obviously, we're due to the limited time that we have as the team has been established, but we've seen, as I've said, I've referenced to you before, we've seen how good work can be done by the teams. As long as they are led by people who are correct and with the heart of saving the people, they will get the results.
Sure. Let's talk about kidnappings now and extortion crimes. How serious has this problem become in Gauteng?
You know, the problem is that the accessibility of people's information has been really a problem. I do not know how we would really deal with a team that must be established to deal with cybercrime, a team that must be established to really look into how people are tracked and people are followed in terms of who has how much and who has what. And it's really a challenge where in Gauteng and the parts of KZN, you have people like the Chinese nationals, the Pakistani nationals who've been kidnapped and asked for ransom. And unfortunately, we are unable to really crack these cases because they just resort to paying these ransoms without even involving the South African police services so that they're able to investigate and also crack down the modus operandi. It is a challenge, and we must really ensure that it is cracked down and we find a way to get these people behind bars as soon as we can.
Now, political killings often involve complex networks and sometimes allegations of political interference. How can investigators ensure independence and credibility in these sensitive cases?
26 is an election year. Obviously, you would realize that part of the election problems is that there's a lot of conflict from internal party politics where they need to install candidates to getting into the day of the polls where you get your vote, you cast your vote. There will always be tensions, conflicts, but with the GPU and GNUs that are happening across provinces, we are really praying that there will be tolerance and there will be a coexistence of these political parties. But really still, once you have that, you still have to install and have methods that will also prevent that to happen and also be able to react whenever anything happens into this regard. So we pray really that we will have a peaceful election, and also we will really crack down on these people who are butchering people within their own parties or inter-party conflicts.
Now, one concern people often raise is whether SAPS has enough resources and skilled investigators to make such specialized units effective. Do you share that concern?
Yes, it is a concern, but an integrated, collaborated approach between all law enforcement agencies can really be a good punch against the criminals. So we really urge the South African police services and all law enforcement agencies, from your Metro Traffic Police to any law enforcement agencies, to also our program that SAPS has adopted, which is the E2, Eyes and Ears program, which involves the incorporation of the security companies into the South African police service networks and the work. Also tries to give an impact in getting visibility and getting more manpower on the ground. But also the community, again, playing its role in giving information and participating through the community and street patrollers will also yield good results. But the police can never win the war against crime alone.
Fantastic. Siyanda, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you very much.
That was Gauteng Community Policing Board Executive Chairperson, Siyanda Biyela, National Spokesperson.